name is Gary at Leak Detectives. Max and myself are going to share with you today how it is that leaks are found in in-ground pools and spas. This is one of the most common questions that's asked on the phone, just how these leaks are found, as well as we're going to share with you the primary and significant tools that are used to find leaks in pools and spas. Let's begin. Well, let's start out by talking about a very simple tool called a dye tester. This is a plastic needle about 1 foot in length, and if you look closely, you'll notice that inside the needle is found a dye, a blue dye. This dye is designed to be injected into those suspicious areas, holes found in plaster, conduit, behind lights, skimmers. And the dye is designed to float in the water in a certain fashion. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. You might say it hangs in the water so that the user can see where it is that dye is being drawn into. Let's say, for example, that a diver is underwater and they pull off what's called a suction cover on the floor. Under that suction cover, there's a hole that's literally smaller than the head on Abraham Lincoln's penny. Well, you see this little applicator here, and the very tip is so small that it's designed to be injected near to that hole. And this dye is injected by way of the needle. And if that hole is leaking, that dye is going to be sucked in very quickly. Well, here's an example of the dye being introduced into the water. Let's say, for example, that was at the bottom, removing that main drain cover we talked about a moment ago. Now I'm going to inject this dye into the water. And you notice it hangs, doesn't fall away, dissipate too quickly. And I can see the dye still remaining in the water here. And I can watch to see where that dye is going to go. So if the pool leak is not found under the water, then where is it found? About 5 to 10% of the time, the pool leaks are going to be found in the plumbing. The plumbing is most often found about 3 to 4 feet from the edge of the pool. In this particular case, the plumbing would be about that distance from the edge of the pool and about 2 to 3 feet under the deck. So let's talk about how it is that leaks are found in the pool plumbing. First of all, what we have here are plugs that are designed to be placed within the openings of the plumbing. One of the openings in the plumbing is within the skimmer itself. There are different sized pieces of plumbing that are used, different pools. So there are different sized plugs that are used in those pieces of plumbing and pools. You have returns around the side of a pool, and the returns are simply those pieces of plumbing that return the water filtered back to the pool. So we create what's called an enclosed plumbing system. We take these plugs and we place them in all of those openings. The openings again in the skimmer, and the openings in the return. The first place that we oftentimes begin is in the skimmer. And this is called an injector plug. There's a series of different sizes that are used, and this plug is put within the skimmer. Water is pushed into it by way of a garden hose, and air. The plugs on the side of the wall are the returns, and plugs are used to close down that side of the plumbing. So, as that system is pressurized, in other words, as air and or water is injected into the pipes, we're going to use a gauge. We're going to run it up to X number of pounds of pressure, and by way of that gauge, we're going to determine if that plumbing has a hole in it. Let's show you now a little bit about how that works. So I'm removing the skimmer basket. I'm going to take that piece of hardware. I'm going to place it within that skimmer. I'm going to tighten that. And I'm going to take my hose and inject it into the fitting. Alright, then I'm going to take my garden hose and I'm going to attach it to this, and then we're going to fill that plumbing with water and pressurize the system. We have about 3 to 4 inches of cement and possibly about 1 foot or 2 feet of gunite under the deck. So we're going to inject a little bit of air and or water, and we're going to listen with this electronic unit for the sound of air and or water being emitted through that pipe underground. So this is my amplifier on the ground, and I'm going to make myself a way around the pool at least 2-3 times, and I'm going to narrow in on listening for that sound of air and or water being emitted through the pipe. And that's how we find pipe leaks under cement decks. Let's say this pool had a leak under the water. Well, in this particular case, what I'm going to do is dive under the water. I'm going to take my dye with the needle and begin to look for suspicious areas. Remember we said earlier that 80 to 90% of the leaks are found underwater? Quite a few homeowners call with the concern that their leaks are found in areas that are difficult to reach, areas that are going to be expensive to fix, like in plumbing. That's just not the case. Again, for emphasis, 80 to 90% of the leaks are found underwater, are easily found, and are easily repaired. Well, here we go. Oh, and by the way, we trust that you'll find our presentation informative and enjoyable. And remember, every pool is different. Yours is different from the next. Please call with any questions you may have about your pool, and we look forward to talking with you. Bye-bye.